Good evening, we are Craig and Janice, and we have the Cruising Off Duty channel, where we sometimes show you places we've been in the Caribbean to get away from those cold Canadian winters, doing things like scuba diving. We've chartered catamarans, and before COVID kind of messed up the travel plans, we were often going to boat shows and doing reviews of catamarans because that is the boat we're going to buy next. When we replace the boat we have now, which is a 35-foot monohull, which is perfect for being our floating cottage for the summer as we go around the Thousand Islands, which is a beautiful cruising area for power boaters and sailboaters. And if this area entices you, then go back and check out some of our old episodes that covers this area in detail. But the multi-part series you're about to see is us circling Lake Ontario, and there is a ton to do. This is my marine navigational chart, and you can see I've put little orange anchor symbols at every possible spot. Criteria for these spots would be it has to be somewhat populated, so when we get there and we go to shore, there's something to explore. And we'll tell you whether it's somewhere you can provision by just walking from your boat to a grocery store or whatnot, or if you got to take a scooter, my EUC, a folding bike, or some other way to get around. That might be important because if you're a boater and you don't have a folding bike or whatnot, you're really kind of hamstrung into only going to what you can walk to, which is really limiting. So highly suggest you get a folding bike at least. In the first episode, we went from Kingston to Belleville, and we talked about why you would want to go the inner passage through the Bay of Quinte as opposed to going out into Lake Ontario and potentially getting slammed by some huge waves if the wind or storm was to blow. And yeah, at the end of the episode, you saw that we got slammed by a storm, and thank God we were on the inner passage and not out in Lake Ontario when it hit, because, well, it was nasty enough as it was, so I can only imagine how terrible it would have been out exposed to the big waves. And in this episode, we're going to continue our westward voyage around Lake Ontario by going from Belleville to Cobourg. Now, it's through the Bay of Quinte, and it's called a bay for a reason. There would have been a peninsula of land there, but the Murray Canal was cut to allow boats to get through, which makes it a much more protected way to get west into the prevailing headwinds, which is very nice. Now, let's take a look at the route on Navionics. It says it's a 41 nautical mile route. That's by the way the crow flies, so no zigzagging or tacking, direct route. This is based on a 5-knot speed. It's going to take about 8 hours and 8 minutes. Now, in the last episode, you saw that I was able to motor sail and get that up to 6, 7, sometimes up to 8 knots, which really cuts down on the speed. Obviously, if you're a power boater and you can do 10 knots, then you can cut the time in half. If you can do 50 knots, it's 1/3 the time. So yeah, just factor in based on what your normal cruising speed is. Okay, let's check out the beautiful, I was going to say town. It's probably a city of Belleville. It's a pretty good population. I'll put it on the screen. There's plenty to do and see here in Belleville. Obviously, the last episode you saw we were in a storm, so we didn't go to shore. We just took off the next morning and headed towards where we want to get to is Toronto by Canada Day. But you can see us tied there to the visitor dock. This is from 2 years ago when we visited Belleville. We made an episode. If you want more walk around footage, bike around footage of Belleville, to go back and check that episode out. I just want to let you know that outer harbor and that visitor wall we were tied to is a little bit too far to be walking to try and go get groceries. So if you really need a big haul of groceries, you're going to have to do one of two things. Go get an Uber and then drive there, pick up every grocery you can considerably need to pack on your boat, and then come back with the Uber. Or the better thing in every case for us is always just get yourself a folding bike and put it somewhere in your storage or your lazarette on your boat, and then bike to the stores. It also allows you to explore far and wide, to go see the beauty of the parks and the bike trails and all the other stuff. So highly suggest that. I'll probably say that about a dozen times during this around Lake Ontario thing. You really don't want to be stuck where all you can do is walk around, because you're really limited on where you can explore. Now, when we were here, we scooted down this bike path that went right along this, I guess it's a canal. It might be a river, but it looks like a canal. Anyways, you can go along there for a long, long way and go and explore. So it was a really fun town to visit. So if you got a day or two, definitely there's things to do. And it's a big enough city that there's probably movie theaters and all that stuff that you can do. If it's a rainy day and you just want to get off the boat, there's probably that option for you as well. Okay, we're leaving Belleville. Another stormy, gloomy looking day, but we survived.
It was an ordeal.
It was an ordeal.
Adventure.
And with that, we were going to continue west through the Bay of Quinte, heading towards the Murray Canal. On the way, we were going to pass the city of Trenton, which is also another option for you to stop at, get some provisionings, go to a restaurant. Same as Belleville, just a little bit smaller.
Baby, I love your madness. It's so incredibly beautiful. Oh, you shine like gold, so selfless to all, and wild like an animal. Some would say I'm insane in the right and away, but I just love to play in your fun and your games. Always hungry for want your pandemonium. The limit of love is endless, I know. Just do what you want with me. Yeah, I want it all. Could care less the cost. I give you my everything. Some would say I'm insane in the right and the way, but I just love to play in your fun and your games. Always hungry for more, that's just how I was born. Take me somewhere I don't know and give me your freedom. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium, life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium.
Okay, just to get us caught up with where we are, we obviously went through the Murray Canal at the top right of this Navionics chart, winding our way through Presqu'ille Bay and then out into the wide open waters of Lake Ontario. Presqu'ille Bay looks large when you're in it, but stay to the channel. It's very shallow and it's very weedy outside of the channel. I've seen sailboats get off path a bit and then get all caught up in the weeds, and yeah, you don't want that. So once you're out in Lake Ontario, today you're going to see a footage. It's really calm, so it's very gentle and easy. If you are out there on a windy or stormy day, this is where it can get really, really nasty and really, really bouncy very quickly, as you are generally going west into the prevailing westerlies, so you'll be pounding through the waves. Luckily, in our case, it was really, really enjoyable, an enjoyable motors sail. I think we sailed a little bit. The bird sanctuary island, as you see, thousands and thousands and thousands of birds. You're not supposed to go on that island. You wouldn't want to anyway, because I'm sure it smells pretty foul. Pardon the pun. Solar generators, you know, I've been reviewing them like crazy. Here's my smallest one I just got this year, my Bluetti EB3A. We've used it to replace these sort of things, these power bank little bricks. A lot of times they're not strong enough for things like iPads. I've moved up to an iPad for my navigation software, and these little bricks just don't seem to have the power to offset the usage of the big screen. So that's where this comes in handy. Ah, yes, here's the footage of us sailing. You can tell by the sail of angle it's a beam reach, which, like I said, thank God it wasn't windier, because I don't know, all the sailors would know, actually all boaters would know, if you're taking the wind on the side and the waves are big, wow, you feel like a Weebles wobble. You're just slamming back and forth. So luckily we were able to power through this from the opening of Presqu'ille Bay all the way to Cobourg, and Cobourg is a nice protected anchorage. We'll show you that in a second.
Like we always do. This girl caught my eye, said, how do you do? She said, I am not interested, thank you. Then she left the room. Bartender, I'll have the usual. Give me the usual. I'll take the usual. I'll have the usual. Give me the usual. Another usual.
Look at Janice, see if it's holding. Gives me a thumbs up. Okay, we're done. I'll lock her down. And we are here. Now, this anchorage is great, pretty much from every angle. Let me just pan around for you here. So you can see we got a cement wall, tiny little opening, and then a stone wall, and then land. So no matter what angle. Now, right now, the wind is coming straight off Lake Ontario, but later tonight around 11 p.m. it's going to start howling from this direction. So I put out 75 feet in 14 and a half feet of water. I just don't want to put out too much because, you know, who knows what this guy back here has. But we're all going to swing around, and my stern is going to be pointing that way. So got to be prepared for what the wind's going to do overnight while you're sleeping. But this spit of land will definitely protect me from huge waves. We've been dodging storms this whole time. Got pounded by one last night when we were in Belleville. We dodged them sailing here. Now we're in Cobourg, and it's, as you can see, not exactly a sunny, beautiful day, but at least we haven't gotten hit with any squalls. More heavy rain here in Cobourg. Really raining. It's supposed to be high winds, but that hasn't come yet. Clearly with that rain, we didn't shoot this drone shot this time, but we've been to Cobourg so many times. We love Cobourg, nice protected anchorage. Everything's within walking distance. It's one of the few places we can say you literally could walk to almost anything you want to do, whether it's provisioning, restaurants, whatnot. And that's rare. So check out the beauty of Cobourg. It's definitely a must stop if you're going along the Canadian shore of Lake Ontario.
Just the feeling of a distant melody unknown. I was doing fine. I minded my own business till the day you took me home. You came into my life like a sweet embrace, swept me off my feet and made me whole again. You came in my life.
Like I say, we love Cobourg. We're hitting it on the way to or from our home port of Kingston. But usually we're in a race to get to Toronto for Canada Day or whatever, or our vacation's almost over and we're racing back. So we've only ever spent one night in Cobourg. I know people that spend 4 or 5, 6 nights. There's lots to do here, so definitely check it out. Now, the next stop in the next episode is going to be Whitby, which is a bit bigger city, also beautiful, clean, friendly, all the stuff you'd like. A little bit further from the water, though, so this is where we're going to start saying get a folding bike or a scooter or all that stuff. It does have a breakwater with a protected inner harbor, which is great if you need to anchor. There is obviously a yacht club right here at the entrance, and then further in there is also a marina. So much to do in the city. It's much bigger population than the cities you've seen so far. More population means more alternatives for restaurants, bars, whatnot. But usually things are spread out a little further, so you're, again, not going to walk to most things. You're going to need to scoot, or you're going to need to get an Uber. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. If so, show the channel some love by giving it a thumbs up. That really helps out. Subscribe if you haven't already, of course, because you don't want to miss those future episodes as we go around Lake Ontario showing you all the best places to stop, enjoy restaurants, bars, provisioning, all the things you want to know. Is it close? Is it far? Is it scenic? Is it not? We're going to give you all that in the future episodes, so stay tuned. And until next time, this is Craig signing off, wishing you safe cruising.
Weigh anchor and hoist the sail.